Hello, my friends. Thank you for trusting my channel and supporting Ukraine. Thank you for subscribing to my channel. If you haven't already, please do it now. Today, I want to share with you recent thoughts about visits of the European Union leaders and their comments about Taiwan. Don't hesitate to share your thoughts in the comments down below or ask any question. First, I want to follow the previous important theme of Macron's visit to China. You have probably mentioned how the president of France changed his mind when he came back from China. So he said the European Union should not support the US with the fight for freedom in Taiwan. The thing is that he could keep silence, but he told this bullshit to get a few contracts for the few French companies. I assume this is selling democracy for the small contracts for the small benefits. I was also waiting for some strong comments from the other democratic and strong countries like Great Britain, Canada, Australia, Austria, Spain, Denmark, Finland, and others. And finally, we have got we have got much less than expected from Poland and Germany. The Minister of Foreign Affairs of Poland said that Macron's words about Europe and the United States indicate an incorrect assessment of reality. And I totally agree with that, my dear friends. Sometimes Macron acts like a youngster, so other people have to explain to him how the water falls and why he can burn if comes too close to the fire. Does the president of France can't understand or just can't president of France just understand or he's playing his own game? To my mind, he's just playing a stupid game. Why? He's trying to find some preferences for the French industry abroad. For example, to sign a contract for nuclear power station construction or something similar to that. This is a change of the independence of other countries together with the European Union to the dependency from China, and France will not earn the money since the war between China and Taiwan can start. So all the projects, all his contracts will be stopped until the war is finished. So it is clear why Macron says words about Europe and the United States as they show a wrong assessment of reality, a kind of a frustration. It is true that Europe must be able to defend itself. It must be as strong as possible, and it must have such ambitions, but it must in no way oppose the US or even seek some forced neutrality, since democratic countries are much stronger acting together in military, economical, and political fronts of the new war. The best support of this statement is that the United States support Europe and France through the whole 20th century, guaranteeing stability and peace on the continent, at least on a large part of our continent, even at the times when France lost its independence because of the frustration of the French politicians in the 20th century. For those who doesn't know that story, please Google, it's very interesting. Fortunately, Polish politicians are not the only sober ones in the European Union. Foreign Minister of Germany, Annalena Baerbock, emphasizes the United States alliance on Taiwan. The European Union cannot remain different to the tensions surrounding Taiwan. German Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock said during her visit to China. She also expressed her belief that a close partnership with allies who share common values, in particular with the United States, will be crucial at a time when Europe faces threats to its own security, which may come from, in particular, Russia. This is the words that I was expecting from the European Union leaders. Now we see how important it is to have partners around the world who share our values, standing by us when we face our own security threats. That is why it is important for us, because we, Germany, and as the European Union, are vulnerable. Therefore, we cannot remain indifferent to the tensions in Taiwan Strait. Baerbock said in Tianjin, where she began a 3-day trip to China. Great, nice politician. Hope someday she will manage all Germany or European Union. Underlining the importance of the region for Europe, she also noted that 50% of world trade and 70% of global semiconductor production pass through it, and added that free access to the Taiwan Strait is also in Europe's economic interests. At the same time, according to her, Germany is dependent on China in some areas, and this cannot be disconcerting. It is obvious that the lessons we learn from Russia's war of aggression must, of course, also be learned with China in mind. Baerbock stressed, warning German businesses against risky over-reliance on China. So what do you think it can mean? What are the lessons from Russia's war? For me, guys, it means that Germany was dependent on Russia, oil and gas, when the war began, but they successfully went out of the dependency just in 10 months with the help of the United States side. And if China starts the war in Taiwan, Germany will need to get rid of its reliance on cooperation with China. Why? Because Germany will not support any aggressor. Macron has been always trying to kill two birds with one stone, and like always, it finishes with none birds killed. Sorry for that. What is more interesting is that chairman of the European Council, Charles Michel, said the European Union cannot blindly and systematically follow Washington. But if this alliance with the United States implies that we blindly, systematically follow the position of the United States on all issues, no, Michel said. Of course, my vlog, dear guys, is not the one that any politicians are watching. But more important is that you are watching. And I want to state and share with you my thoughts. It is big mistake of Charles. A big mistake is European Union politicians trying to question the monolithic nature of cooperation with the United States of America. For me, it is not a problem of Taiwan, United States, or European Union. It is a problem of democracy. If you are not defending yourself, I mean your freedom, people will see that and try to conquer you, to hit you. First, Ukraine, Taiwan, and after France and other countries. So France and Sweden seem to have not learned lessons of the Second World War, because at that time France was one of those who let Hitler conquer Austria, hoping it would be enough for Hitler. France, together with other countries, let Putin occupy Ukrainian Crimea and Donbass, thinking it would be enough for him, but Putin started the new war in 2022. The same with China. If you let them conquer Taiwan, tomorrow they'll be in Japan, Korea, Vietnam, and later in your country. The European Union has no other chance to survive except strong and predictable cooperation with the United States for many reasons. For example, because the United States has foreign policy. Does the European Union have a foreign policy? Who has heard about it? European Union countries start discussions about Ukraine, Taiwan, and other problems when the action is needed, because they don't know what to do when the war begins, because the European Union has no its own foreign policy. But protecting freedom and democracy is a common homework for the democratic countries. The United States are spending money on their citizens, to protect democracy, while the European Union wants just to have fun and perform long discussions. This is not fair. Do you agree with me? Please write comments down below. I think every country in the world, and especially in the European Union, must help Taiwan protect themselves against China. This is an island of freedom in Asia, like Great Britain was in Europe during the Second World War, when all other European territories were occupied by Nazi Germans, till the territory of Caucasus Mountains, including Ukraine and some parts of Belarus and Russia. For those who still understand for those who still do not understand, I'll highlight alternatives. China sees that the United States is alone in the world, who supports Taiwan and decides to start the war. Taiwan will protect themselves and, together with the United States, wins the war, since China has zero strength of their economy for the long time war. Because of the collapse in China, the European Union has terrible economical problems, stagnations, and bankruptcy of the many companies oriented on China. This may lead to another war in Europe. What is the positive alternative, some people may ask? All the democratic countries, NATO highlighting support to Taiwan, invite them together with Japan and Australia to NATO, and form international NATO forces on Taiwan Islands. In advance, before the war, China will see this strong support and will not go there with the war. It is just signing papers, files, and agreements of the politicians, no war, economical growth, and peaceful future for the democratic countries. This is all for today. Thank you all. Join my channel. Bye-bye.